Hey guys, this is Epic5105 and today we're taking a look at the AMX 50B, the tier 10 Flance heavy tank, which is a rather interesting tank, first of all, for its clipper and for its actual combination of it has weak armor on the sides, right? But it also has rather strong armor on the front, so it depends on how you push it. It kind of changes, you can say it kind of changes how the tank is meant to be performed. So if you're hold down, you want to kind of be a support tank. If you're front scoping, you want to be a front line kind of first line, second line support tank. And really, this tank is so flexible because of the mobility, because of the combination of the frontal armor, because of the gun depression, that you can really do whatever you want in the 50B, and sometimes it pays off. The best way to play this tank is probably second line support, because you do have weak turret armor and side armor, which if you're over angling or you're facing an FV215B183, you can get AG'd, which is something that you need to keep in mind, because even though you have good armor on the front, which you can front scope with, and you can catch some people unaware, you do need to be aware that sometimes people are going to hit you and they're going to pen you. If they can hit your turret, there's a high chance they will penetrate you, and really you can't expect to bounce anything unless you're front scoping. So let's go into the stats and the armor a bit more. So first up, he has 120mm, which is excellent on almost every factor. Dispersion, accuracy, beautiful. Magazine reload, amazing, which the DPM is beautiful at 2.859k. It's so flexible. You can do whatever you want in this tank, really, and take whatever position, as long as you have common sensing. You're not playing a frontline heavy in this tank. We're talking about second line support, medium side. There's so much flexibility in this tank. I cannot stress that enough. Now the penetration is nice at 270 on standard, 357 for APCR. With normalization, that's more pen than most tier 10 heavies. You can go through the front of the turret of the Big Yo with 357 mils of APCR, and your HE penetration isn't all that bad at 72. You can use it, apply it for some targets. You can apply it for tanks like some light set tier 10, the rear of 62As and stuff. You do want to try that HE, because if you're shelled or pen, that's 1.5k. And the clip is amazing as well. 400 alpha, 3 shots, 1.2k. Even with premium ammo, that's over 1k of damage. That is a lot of damage in the long term. When you're trading, you can outtrade TDs, you can outtrade heavy tanks, you can outtrade mediums, you can outtrade anything on the battlefield if you manage to have some sort of support which allows you to back down after you shoot your 3 shells where you're reloading. Now, if you watch one of my shorts, we can see me and my 6-year platooning with my brother in the 50B, and you can see how effective that was. We were able to clip out an entire Jaegeru, because we were there. I was there in my Yo, which had amazing DPM, and my brother had this tank with amazing clip, so we were able to work together really well. That's what you want to do in this tank, platoon with high DPM tanks like the Mi 6 Yo. The tank itself, it has good DPM, but you do want to keep in mind that, yeah, you're going to have a long clip reload and people are going to exploit it. Now let's take a look at some games in the 50B where we kind of show more about the actual gameplay and the tactics that you should employ. Now, first match, we have a game of 50B on Ghost. I can't remember the name of this map before. Ghost Factory or something like that. I can't remember. This map is pretty amazing. The new map. People tend to not really know what to do. Like you can see, my brother is thinking, where do we go? It's my brother's game, by the way. I didn't play this by myself. He did get a 4.8k game, and the other game is played by me. So first up, we are pushing off towards. My brother is actually pushing off towards the middle section over here. It's a new map. Like, I personally prefer going full right, where the bunch of coal is, the coal collection is. That position really allows you to employ gun depression. However, on this position, if you have more than 2 tanks and you can escape the crossfire scenario, it's actually not a horrible position, because you do want to crossfire the mediums, which are pushing kind of off towards there, and the heavies, which may be capping base A. And you can see that complete unfamiliarity, kind of not knowing where to push, kind of just changing position sometimes. You really have to experiment a lot in this map. It took me a lot of times in just training rooms to find out the best spots to kind of crossfire and really identify where TDs can take an offensive position. Now, we're going to take a position over here against the Mortian. Not personally, this isn't exactly what you should do. You should be a tiny bit more careful. But knowing that you have team support and the enemies are most inclined to push towards heavy, my brother is kind of going a bit more offensive, and you do spot a back chat and motion. Now, he is pushing with the support of another heavy tank right behind him. You can check the minimap. And in this tank, situational awareness is vital. He can tap a HE shell into there, and you can see employing that HE really pays off. 500 per shot for the first few shots, 531 again, and one more good shot should be able to get him out. Like you can see, trying to flank, the back chat tries to flank, but he gets taken out. Now there's an ISH, which is really aggressive on my brother right now, and he's going to kind of just back around and try and minimize his target by hiding behind this back chat. Really, you want to wait until your clip is reloaded. It's a peekaboo tank, way more than the Meteor. The Meteor has a turret, so it can actually hold down spot, but this tank, it doesn't have a turret, and you don't want to necessarily expose yourself too much. You only want to expose yourself after you fire initial clip. So, you want to expose yourself when your clip is loaded. Correction. You don't want to expose yourself when you fire your clip. You want to expose yourself when your clip is fully loaded, so you can do that 1.2k. And there's a T57 with him as well, so really they can wreak hell in the enemy team. There's an OBJ268, which is, oh, that's bad, but the OBJ goes for someone else. Luckily, that was very lucky. If the OBJ decided to go for my brother, well, the game would have been 100% different. Now we're gonna get to the side of motion and just tap his turret. Just gonna try and stick to his side, and really with 3 heavy tanks on this one guy, there's nothing you can do. And that's one thing you want to do in 50B. Have that situational awareness and operate with your team, because when you have that clip, you want to use it to support your team. Because think about it, one guy with 400 alpha, like an E5, taps someone, and then you tap them 1.2k, that's 1.6k. That OBJ right there has 1.8k hit points. If you're running double clipper, or you're running like a clipper and another tank with good TPM, you can seriously wreck an enemy tank that's separated. So you do want to push with your team. Now, with this tank, you do want to follow second line support. You can play front line if you're front scraping and just generally waiting for your whole clip, trading with the enemy. However, I wouldn't recommend trading again because you can lose a lot of hit points. Now we're going to try and push off towards. I don't know what the T57 is doing. He's just firing random shots into the building. Now we're going to hopefully push off towards against this isolated OBJ268, picking the right choice, trying to pick off the guy who is kind of exposed and in a bad scenario. Now I think he's going to tap the rangefinder to try and minimize the amount of area that the OBJ can return fire from, and that's the best choice of action right now. He's going to try and flank around and hopefully clear this OBJ. Oh, okay, that was a bad shot. You can see accuracy is good on the tank. We don't tend to miss a lot. You can see most of the shots were hits, but yeah, you do have to aim in, because losing one shell, that is going to seriously impact the DPM. Now, if he didn't take that shot, he could have actually won this game without dying. However, he does end up taking that shot, which isn't that good. So you do want to conserve your hit points as much as you can. Now, you do have 2.4k, so if you're pushing off towards meds, you do have a massive hit point advantage. Now, we do spot the Waffle running the weird gun, and he does get a beautiful tap in. Guys, if you're running a Waffle, please run Spore-Liner. I mean, seriously, if you're not running Spore-Liner, it's like suicide. Now, unfortunately, he's reduced to 65 hit points now against this one T57 heavy on 4.8k hit points. This is not going to end well, because my brother kinda guesses wrong the positioning, and yeah, gets tapped and killed by the T57 heavy. He is going to get cleared because the T57 does spoil him, and this tank's camera rating is not very good for a tier 10 tank. The Mevio, which is pretty big, the similar size, is actually has much better camo. T57 has a better camo, I believe. I'm not entirely too sure. However, really in this tank, your camo rating isn't that good, so that stresses how important it is to necessarily take a position really quickly in game with your mobility and try and take out the enemy. Now, in our next game, we're going to showcase taking a position, and we're just going to show the ending of this game where the T11-0E3 does manage to take out the T57 heavy. I don't know how to switch targets, never mind. So the E4 or E3 does manage to take out the enemy T57 heavy, which ultimately allows us to win the game. So now we're going to take a look at another game, which showcases the ability to deal damage once you're in a good position. Now, this game was actually played by me on my brother's account, and I kind of try and experiment a bit, because I don't have as much experience in a 50B when I played this game. I did play a lot more afterwards, which allowed me to make this review, have an opinion, which really reflects the overall gameplay of the tank over a larger sample size of battles. Now, in this game, I kind of try to experiment with hold down because gun question, this tank has 10 degrees off. That's more than a T57 heavy and more than most tanks, heavy tanks at tier 10. So if you can get that hold down position, in theory, you should be harder to hit. And because people are going to try and like aim a bit more carefully after the recent armor highlighting changes, you're going to get a bit more bounces, I think, or it's going to try and make the enemy miss a lot more. Now, we're going to try, we see this E50 who has, I have no idea what he's doing. He's a stock E50, he's going to push right on top of us, right in front of us, but he's not looking at us for some reason, which allows us to get all shots in. Now, you can see this, you need to try and get all your shots in. That's something that is very important, because if you only get 2 shots and that's 800 damage, okay, but you don't want to overexpose yourself to try and get that damage. It's really not worth it when you take a lot more damage in return for less damage. Now we are 1.2k hit points already, and look at how fast this match is progressing. 1 tank down on the enemy team in barely 2 minutes. That's how strong this tank can be. If you get that clip out. Now we're going to tap this OBJ hopefully, however I do bounce a shot because I don't aim properly, and we should get another shot into this waffle maybe. You can see I'm not staying still. I don't want to get tapped by other tanks because your camera rating isn't that good. So I'm going to wait for the OBJ, going to blind shot, but it does ricochet. And we're just going to kind of hold this position here, not overexpose myself. And another thing I want to do in this tank is when people are aiming, actually just look up, because it angles the upper top of the turret, and technically, in theory, it should be harder to penetrate because of auto bounce mechanics and stuff like that. Now, I'm hopefully going to tap. Ooh, okay, that was nasty. Hey, that shot cost me in the game. Bro, that mistake cost me the game. I could have won if I did clip that shot. But anyways, just going to try and clip out this OBJ or just the waffle next to him. Just going to dart back and forth. I don't want to take any shots. Taking shots is not going to be good for me. And you can see that waffle just lost almost all his hit points. So you don't want to stay in front of big guns for too long. And another thing we're going to do is kind of like showcase when you need to push in this tank. Even though it is defeat because I mess up, I kind of bounced too many shots, and overall my team just doesn't really complement as well as it could have. I'm pushing now because I realized that my team's not going to spot up these guys. We've lost some of our meds, we lost our standard B, and really no one's going to spot up this side if the enemy does push. Now this was my mistake. I should have just maintained the position. I thought that I could have pushed on and tried to spot out these guys, but honestly, I think that my team should have mistaken it because I don't have amazing armor. I do call for backup, and my team do help and arrive, do come in help, but the 62A and the OBJ, yeah, the 62A gets ambushed by the OBJ, and he does get taken out, unfortunately, by the OBJ. I just try to force him in a good position, but in doing so, I do take a shot, and the T57 is more taken out. Now that we've lost our fellow T62A, we're going to have to try and get the shot where it counts. I'm going to try and clear this guy. I'm expecting team support, but I don't realize that my team is pretty much dead. It's a 3v3, and our team is dissolving really quickly. Now this guy's pushing on me, and I back up into a trap, and he's pretty much now. Now I'm just going to try and use my speed to try and get around him, wiggle around, try and get a bounce, and we do get 2 bounces, which is hilarious, but I do expose my side and we can get pinned once. Now I'm going to try and exploit a HE and try and clear him, but I don't manage to clear him in time. I'm trying to pop another HE. Nah, I had to pen all my HEs to be able to clear this clip. That brings us to 5k, and unfortunately, we get taken out by this T57 on his next clip. We try our best to try and wiggle around, try and get bounce, try and like not get killed, but yeah, unfortunately he's going to be able to take us out, ending this rather nice game. 5k, not an ace, unfortunately, and yeah, just overall showing how you can hold a position really well. You want to try and just bait a shot and then pull out and then tap them for 1.2k, but it also depicts how important it is to have team support. If I had team support, I could have won, but because I had no support, I did end up dying. So that's it, guys. I hope you found this review pretty helpful. The 50B is a rather exhilarating tank to play. You can get all the 3 shots out, 1.2k, an easy damage farmer, and I would 100% recommend you grind the line. Very fun overall. And yeah, that's generally just try and hold a second line support position, try and bait those shots, and when you can, tap that 1.2k into the enemy. Thanks for watching. This is Epic5105, and I hope you have a nice day.